Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Chang urges colleagues to take politics out of crime fighting. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has invited his parliamentarian colleagues to take the politics out of crime fighting as the authorities grapple with a spike in serious crimes which has left 131 people murdered in the month of January. I invite my colleague parliamentarians from the opposition to join the government in implementing this comprehensive, coordinated, and integrative approach to fighting crime, which is Plan Secure Jamaica. No longer can we afford to politicize crime fighting. The people of Jamaica deserve better, Chang stated as he addressed the House of Representatives on Tuesday. He noted that to implement the plan over 7 years would cost some US $1.2 billion, equal 176 billion Jamaican dollars. Chang stressed that while it takes cash and the boosting of the capacities of the security forces to rein in crime, there is much that politicians can do. The collective action of parliamentarians must be to support the efforts of the police, to support the measures that give additional powers to the work of the police, to approve bold and initiative laws, policies, and regulations for improved security, and make the investment necessary for national security to overcome decades of neglect, Chang argued. Of Plan Secure Jamaica, Chang said the Jamaica Labour Party administration is the first government to put in place such a robust security plan with the necessary institutional arrangements to ensure a sustainable whole-of-government approach to the social investment and social transformation component of crime fighting. He highlighted that this is being enhanced through the formation of the Citizen Security Business Group and the Citizen Security Secretariat. The Citizen Security Governance Framework that we have implemented ensures accountability and sustainability of the plan. Chang explained while noting that strategic investments since 2016 and 2017 have significantly improved the efficiency of the police force. Admittingly, there is no single tool that will be reduced crime and violence overnight. Our approach has been to invest in the myriad of security measures, tools, and resources that are required for crime fighting and have done so in partnership and collaboration with different sectors and interest groups. Some of these are still work in progress, but we must and we will complete them so that the police can continue to disrupt gangs, intercept drugs, seize guns, apprehend criminals, and bring them to justice, the minister said. Chang also noted that as a result of these strategic investments, the people of Jamaica are beginning to see the significant improved intelligence and investigative capacity of the force, and will continue to see reduced lag time between the committal of a criminal offense and police apprehension. Of note, the police have taken suspect into custody within 24 hours of the church shooting on Sunday and have apprehended the suspect in the St. James Hit Strip shooting within 7 minutes, and Phoenix Avenue was less than 10 minutes. Jamaica's crime problem is an epidemic and painful disease, says PSOJ. The private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, has described the country's crime situation as deep-rooted in nature, an epidemic and painful disease that has reached crisis levels. Stating that the treatment requires and all of Jamaica approach, the influential lobby has warned that failure to tackle this epidemic in a united way will lead to our own demise. In a statement Wednesday, following its first press briefing for 2021, the PSOJ noted that Jamaica has been at crisis level with murder rates of over 1,000 per year for the past 2 decades. It suggested that both the governing Jamaica Labour Party and the opposition People's National Party must share equal blame while lauding their effort, as the two have been in power for almost equal time over this period. Both have made well-intentioned efforts, and both have unrelentingly critiqued each other in the public domain while the murders continue unabated and while our security forces battle with inadequate tools to effectively contain this epidemic, said the PSOJ, while also stating that the blame game is long past. Jamaica and Jamaicans have no more time or patience for the politicizing of crime as we seek to contain this painful crime disease, it said. The PSOJ was blunt in its assessment of the crime problem facing the country, arguing that the country's social intervention efforts over the past 20 years under both administrations have not delivered the results as they have been disjointed, not targeted, and not monitored and evaluated for effectiveness. In the meantime, the gang culture has been entrenched in marginalized and depressed communities where the education system and the social intervention efforts have not delivered, and the youth became and continue to become easily prey for the gang due to their hopelessness and not seeing a way out for themselves. The PSOJ said Jamaica has no more time for politics, one-upmanship. We have had and continue to have a major crisis in our society. I am sure that we all have the desire to sleep with our windows open, and in the case of the violent-prone communities, on our beds and not underneath our beds when the gangs are trading gunshots, said PSOJ President Keith Duncan. Duncan added, I am sure all of Jamaica would like to unite for change, to implement sustainable crime prevention and crime reduction solutions to effectively contain and dismantle these gangs as they spiral out of control and take innocent lives. I am quite sure that we all want to live good in Jamaica. However, this epidemic of crime will require an all of Jamaica approach and a bipartisan effort. Duncan pointed out that Jamaica achieved this national consensus, a bipartisan agreement signed off and by both political parties, the private sector, civil society, and the church. He also pointed out that the crime monitoring and oversight community has been put in place with representation of all these stakeholder groups to provide input and oversight of the deliverables within the timelines contained in the National Consensus Agreement. He also noted that the spirit of the National Consensus Agreement was to build trust and alignment around Jamaica's crime-fighting strategies, which are focused around crime prevention and reduction. Duncan reminded that the National Consensus on Crime is aligned around the following strategies and initiatives too. Continue with the significant investments to modernize what was an ill-equipped national security apparatus by investing in building capacity, capability, technology, and mobility of the security forces. Focus on the overdue reforms that are underway in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the justice system, and the reform to combat corruption. Focus on targeted and coordinated social programs which will be implemented, monitored, and evaluated. Finally, enforce the enhancement security measures that are required to deal with the upsurge in crime. These measures are to be aligned on in Q1 of 2021 and has been on the table since March 2019. Murder at attorney Patrick Bailey's home still being probed, cops say. The police say they have not yet closed their probe into the murder of a man 4 years ago at the St. Andrew home of prominent attorney Patrick Bailey. Jermaine Jr., a 51-year-old construction worker, was found with stab wounds and a single gunshot wound to the head in the attorney's living room on September 30, 2016. In an update on the case on Monday, February 1, at a police press conference, Deputy Commissioner of Police DCP in charge of crime, Fitz Bailey, said the probe into the killing is ongoing. Well, the matter is ongoing. It is not yet closed, but the truth is we go by the evidence, and I don't think we have the adequate amount of evidence to advance a criminal prosecution at this time, he disclosed. Even since I took over the crime portfolio, we have had quite a number of case reviews. We have actually done several lines of inquiries, but at this point, we don't have the evidence to mount a criminal prosecution, Bailey added. Police reports at the time suggest that Bailey stumbled on the body shortly after 4 a.m. in his living room, and the police were alerted. No signs of forced entry were visible, and Bailey was not classified as a suspect by the police after providing a statement to the investigators. Since that time, police have faced criticism regarding their handling of the crime, which is now referred to as a cold case, one that has not been solved after a considerable time under investigation. Asked about the number of cold cases still being probed by the police, DCP Bailey said it was a very difficult question because when you look at the rate of murders in Jamaica, for example, we are having over 1,300 annually, and we solve maybe an average of 56%. In relation to cold cases, he said a team is now being put together to just focus on those cases, but it is difficult for me to give a figure of the cold cases at this time, he added. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.